Okay, continuing on with 7.2, now we're going to be multiplying and dividing expressions. So previous in 7.1, we just had one expression we were dealing with. Now we're going to be dealing with two, and we're going to be multiplying them. So again, we're going to look to see if we can factor any numerator or denominator. And if we can't, then we just have to straight multiply them, as is in the case of the first one here. So we'll have 9 times the expression, or the quantity x plus 1, and then x times 4x squared would be 4 for the number, and then we would be multiplying exponents, so we add them. So we have 4x to the third. Okay, the next one, we can't factor anything, but we can start canceling. So first thing we can do is take the y and the y, because there's one in the numerator and one in the denominator. Those will cancel out. And then 5, we'll go into 5 once and into 35 7 times. And then the x is common in the numerator and denominator. So this is to the first power, that's to the third. We're dividing, so we subtract. So we have 7 times x squared. And for our denominator, all we're left with is 17 times 1 times 1 is 17. Okay, so we're going to get into a little more complicated ones here. Our first one times our second one. Again, you want to factor numerators and denominators. So x plus 3 stays as it is. I will add so the numerator of the first one stays the same, but in the denominator we can factor a 2 out of each. So we factor the 2 out, and we're left with, in parentheses, x plus 2. Can't factor the 6, but the x squared minus 9 is the difference of squares. No middle term. So it's x plus 3 and x minus 3. Now we factor as much as we can, so we identify like terms on the top, meaning the numerator and denominator. And we can cancel out the x plus 3's. Also, we can divide 2 by 2, and we get 1. Divide 2 into there, 6, and we get 3. So we'll have 3 for our numerator, and then we'll have the x plus 2 times the x minus 3 for our denominator. Getting a little more complicated. We're going to have 8x squared minus 8x for this numerator. So we're going to factor that. We can take out an 8 out of each and an x out of each. So that factored is right here. Let's do the denominator. We don't have a number in front of the x squared greater than 1, so we can go right into factoring. So x and x make our x squared, and then the two numbers multiplied give us negative 56, and added give us positive 1, or positive 8 and a negative 7. So we have that one factored. This one I'm going to go over at the very end, but this one has a number greater than 1 in front of the x squared term, so we have to use the AC method. So when we do that, that becomes quantity x 3x minus 1 times the quantity x minus 7. This denominator is not in the proper order, so we have to make it in the proper order, meaning the larger of the exponents goes first. So that would be negative x squared plus x. Then we factor out a negative x, and that would leave x minus 1. So if we distributed this back, we'd be right where we were. If we reverse the order, we'd be where the denominator was to start with. So this is going to go for our denominator here. Now we factored everything, and we can cancel like terms, numerator and denominator. And this x will cancel out that x. So we'll have 8 for this denominator times the 3x minus 1. That numerator, I should say. This numerator, the ending numerator is 8 times the quantity 3x minus 1. Down here we have a negative, so I'm going to put this right up here. And then we have the quantity x plus 8. So a little tricky here. Make sure you can identify this right here. Put it in the proper order, then factor it. This next one I squeezed in here. Don't distribute this out. You can cancel this a in the numerator and the a in the denominator right away. So you're going to be left with 5 times 3a minus 1. Okay, this next one has a little bit of a quirk to it too. We have 2a minus 1 divided by 1 minus 2a. You notice these are the same two terms, but they're just in reverse order. So if we factor a negative 1 out of our denominator, now we'll have a negative 1 out in front. If we distribute this back, we'd be right where we started. So now we can cancel what's common, numerator and denominator, and we'll get negative 1 over 1, or just negative 1. And I'm going to pick the division up in another video because